Well, hello, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans. Guess what? It's May. You know what that means. It's time for the GMR Grand Prix and the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gamebridge. And I'm pretty excited because right now, sitting to my right, is my favorite NTT IndyCar Series driver, Conor Daly. And what I really love the most about it, the last 2 years at the Indianapolis 500, this guy's led the race. In fact, 2 years ago, he led more laps than anyone in the Indy 500. Conor, are we ready for May?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the best time of year, so I can't wait to get into it. It's one of those races that seems to have got better for us every year, so we want to take that next step and get the win, or at least get even closer to winning. But we don't show up to not win, so I'm excited about it.
So this is your 9th Indianapolis 500.
I thought it was my 10th. Honestly, is it not my 10th?
So you ran 2013, right? And then 2014, you actually walked. You walked your luggage the wrong direction to the racetrack on race day. Remember?
Yeah.
And then 15 through 22.
Well, I don't know. The math on that is still wild because we said it was 10th.
So let's count.
Sheet.
Let's our Indiana education.
13. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I can count.
He can count. I can't. 10.
What's going on here?
Not a lot of drivers in our history. So almost 800 have run the Indy 500. Very few of them have run 10 or more. You actually, only a couple hundred have led the race. You're almost in the top 100 of drivers that led the race. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool. I mean, honestly, this race has obviously meant the world to me. It's an incredible opportunity just to get to show up. But to show up and run competitively with this BitNile.com team and Ed Carpenter Racing, everyone together, is awesome. So I can't wait to get going. It's the best time of year. It's better than any other birthday, Christmas, all the above.
I can remember a couple years ago when you were the fastest on Fast Friday leading into qualifying. Qualifying just has never seemed to come together for you. Race days have been good. So is there anything you can do different this year to get in that top 12 and have a little bit better starting position?
Yeah, I've sucked at qualifying for sure. Not really sure why, but there are certain things that have affected our runs. There are certain things that I'm maybe not as comfortable with in the car as my teammates are. But in the end, when we've got to race day, that's the day that pays. So we've always had a good car on race day, and I would 10 times out of 10 take a good race car over a nice qualifying run that you could mount on your wall at home. Like, it's more cool to drink the milk than to get a red hat that says you were on pole.
Which is exactly right. But speaking of speed, last year there was a pretty big social push about your speed going in 240 plus miles an hour into turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, we were ripping last year. There was a lot of wind, which felt awful, but it definitely pushed us down the back straight and the front straight at times. So we know we are capable of those speeds. The cars are quite quick, but I would like to see us break that track record. I would like to get to that point. So who knows if that's on the horizon, but we seem to be getting closer and closer.
So speaking of May and fast speeds and kind of trying to be successful there, you've actually had a couple of really good runs in the IndyCar GMR Grand Prix. You've led there. Your friend Simon Pagino got in the way and made it difficult for you on a really good starting position there. How do you feel going into that event this year?
Well, the Grand Prix has always been something that's been our strong point as well, both the one in May and the one when we come back in August and later in the year. But it's something that just gets the month going right. I love racing on the road course. I think it's a great track. Our cars go well there, which is important. It's easy to like a place where your car is fast at. So thankfully, it's the Indianapolis Speedway for us. And I do think we've had a shot at winning that race. When Simon did happen to bunt us off the track there, but my teammate won, so that was good. But hopefully we have another shot in the future at getting the win, because winning that race, honestly, would be obviously awesome as well. To just be on the podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway would be great. So we'll see what happens, but we love racing there. We love to start out the month of May strong, because if you can have 2 good finishes in May, that really kind of vaults your season onto another level.
So one of the things you've been really good at is not just being the things you do in the car, but how you push us outside of the car. And by us, I mean the series and the racetrack, to just promote. The bus lot tends to be a place where a lot of stories begin. Last year you brought a hot tub. That turned into a little bit of a disaster, but it was also very, very entertaining. What's going to happen this year in the bus lot? Any thoughts on your end?
I really hope to avoid all conflict in the bus lot this year. I think there's been too many hours of having to use one of those Porta-John sifters to to suck all those water balls out of my tub and into the Porta-John pumper thing. So I want to avoid that experience this year. But the hot tub is still in my garage, so someone might have to use it. Maybe I'll loan it to a rookie and see what happens there.
That's a great idea. By the way, I did get a $400 bill for the use of the.
Send it to Roger.
So, although it was worth the $400, the amount of coverage that got. So you also this year got a chance to spend some time, or this past year, on SRX in the booth and in those cars. How fun was that to test those cars and then to be in the booth commentating and talking about some of your contemporaries?
Well, the SRX series is certainly very cool. I think very exciting to watch. We had several IndyCar drivers in it against NASCAR Cup Series drivers, dirt racers, all kinds of different people. And to talk about it, I would obviously like to race in it, but thankfully they let me drive the cars every track that we went to get some good experience, and that was a lot of fun. So to be able to do that, to be able to talk about guys like Elio Castroneves, obviously our most recent four-time winner, is pretty cool, and even Joseph Newgarden got in there, and that was hilarious to watch. So I enjoyed being part of it.
Speaking of Elio, you brought it up. When Elio won the fourth, one of my biggest memories is you running down the front stretch and Elio running, and the two of you just hugging each other. He was so excited. You grew up watching IndyCar. Your whole life has been around IndyCar. So Elio was somebody you watch. How cool was that for you as, take the driver hat off, but the fan hat, to see Elio win a fourth?
Well, I don't know if it was as exciting as I look back on it now, but at the moment it was cool, I guess, to see that type of history being made. But all I know is I don't want him to win a fifth, that's for sure. So we're going to keep trying to prevent that for as long as he's around. But yeah, I mean, Elio and I have found ourselves racing against each other in the 500. Like last year, he finished right behind me again. It's kind of one of those things that we've always ended up being close really randomly, and I think we have a decent amount of respect for each other there, which is cool to have with a four-time winner. So it was cool to see, and he's just happy. It could have been me, it could have been Santa Claus out there, and he still would have hugged him. So it's something that Elio is happy all the time, which is great.
Final question for you. You grew up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Your dad ran in the Indy 500. There is nothing probably more important in your life than trying to win the Indianapolis 500. When you go to bed at night, are you dreaming about and thinking about and going through in your mind how you can get to that point to win the Indy 500?
Absolutely. I mean, there's not a day that goes by where you don't think of winning and drinking the milk. Everything has to be perfect. Your day has to be the best day you've ever had. It has to be the luckiest day you've ever had, and you have to make zero mistakes. I watched last year Scott Dixon run a perfect race until it wasn't, you know what I mean? And so it's something that, he had the fastest car, he had the best car that day, he was going to win that race until he wasn't. So it was one of those things that you realize that anyone can make that mistake. No one doubts Scott Dixon's ability, you know what I mean? So there's a lot there that has to be perfect. And you just hope that, and hope isn't really a strategy, but you do everything you can in preparation for your mind, your body, your team, the car, everything, to where you just have a flawless day.
I said that was the last question, but I'm going to ask you one more. Could you hear the fans cheer when you took the lead in the 500 the first year?
I really could not hear anything. There's a lot of noise, and I couldn't even see anything. All I was looking at was the racetrack. So all I saw were videos afterwards, which were very nice, and gives you those little butterflies in your heart every now and then.
Yeah, that's an incredible video. So, ladies and gentlemen, a Hoosier, a kid who grew up with no choice but to love the Indianapolis 500, and not only has he loved it, he's embraced it and loved it 10 times more than anybody could expect him to. One of our favorite drivers in the NTT IndyCar Series, and certainly mine, my stepson, but the Bitnow driver, Conor Daly. We will see you and see Conor starting in about a week here in May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.